make sure that you can hear this, us here at the 18 Storm Center. You can hear this information clearly, and then get to your safe space, right? Remember, your safe space is going to be that first floor on a sturdy building, or if you have a basement, that's even better. Get away from windows, put as many walls in between you as you can. And again, this goes until 2:15, but of course, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch, and we're going to continue to see that watch in place until 6 p.m., which means that if you're underneath this watch right now, we really want to see you guys just seeking shelter as long as these storms are moving through. As of right now, it does not look like much is coming behind it, much storms. A lot of the action is a little bit farther north.
Right, and also if you are on the interstate, now is a perfect time to get off of the interstate. If you know somebody who's headed towards you, particularly heading towards Horseheads into Big Flats, and then eventually into Elmira as you go through Interstate 86, plenty of exits. Now is your chance to make sure and get yourself to safety at this point. With some of that rotation going on, that can be a problem.
And it's very important to make sure to stay away from underneath the overpasses. I know that's definitely a big thing a lot of people like to do, but it's also one of the more dangerous areas you can get because of a lot of the draft that you can see going underneath this. So make sure to get off the highway if you do have the availability to. Make sure to get into a safe space, definitely a structure. Being in your vehicle is definitely not very good for this term of weather. You can definitely see a lot of wind. You can definitely see a lot of danger going on out there if you are staying in something that's maybe not as stable. So make sure to get inside, make sure to stay into an interior room, just like Rhonda Lee as well as Olivia said a little earlier. So this system is still continuing to move further off into the north and to the east out over there. So it's currently hitting Horseheads, a little bit further off to the north of Horseheads, maybe Big Flats out over in that region. But then as it does continue, it will be moving a little bit closer to Sullivanville. It'll be coming up very shortly as rain continues to move through. And it does look like we have another severe thunderstorm warning. This is for the area that is a little bit to the north and to the east of where we see that tornado warning as of right now. So make sure to be careful if you're out in the Spencer region, as well as closer to Danby. Aaron, going to be seeing this moving through Veteran as well as it continues to make its way along. So as we go a little bit further up here, you can see this system, Newfield, will be seeing it. But we do still have that tornado warning in effect for a good portion of Chemung County in our area, so make sure to be careful out there. Make sure to avoid any windows out there. Make sure to avoid any rooms that are outside. Make sure to get indoors as quickly as you can if you are out on the streets.
So as we approach the top of the hour, if you are just now joining us, the National Weather Service in Binghamton, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning, first of all, for eastern Schuyler County, as well as Chemung County and western Tioga County. Well, that would be on the New York side. So what we're looking at right now is a severe thunderstorm that's basically a part of a line leading into Perry City and then moving into Millerton at about 40 miles per hour. The biggest threat with this is going to be wind, and if you were here last night, wind was a huge factor, and also some penny-sized hail along with this. So we are talking to basically everyone in Chemung, Elmira, Southport, for example, Horseheads, Elmira Heights, Cayuga Heights as well. And of course, there's also still that ongoing tornadic threat as well. Now, this does include Chemung County only at this point, and we're not expecting that to be canceled, let's see, for at least the next 15 minutes or so. So we have the tornado warning that is in effect until 2:15, and a severe thunderstorm that was producing a tornado is located over Big Flats and near West Elmira, moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. And we saw some of that rotation, and it was actually pretty stiff rotation. That was discernible rotation within that. So of course, if you are in a mobile home, please take this small lull of an opportunity to get out and get to a safe space as soon as you possibly can. We're talking again with more roof damage, more window damage. Vehicles could be a problem. And of course, we already know that we're still cleaning up from all the trees that fell yesterday when we had those 60-mile-per-hour winds that came through in the airport or around the airport area. So we are again talking about a very dangerous storm heading towards Horseheads right now, Elmira Heights, and you guys should be probably feeling the brunt of that within the next 5 to 6 minutes or so.
Right, and so again, with this storm, we are seeing some decent rotation. I do want to pull that up again just so we can look at it as we move into as that storm moves out of the tornado warning and into the severe thunderstorm warning. You can see into the severe thunderstorm warning, it's a little bit less of the rotation. So as of right now, there aren't any other storms right now where I'm necessarily as concerned about the tornado warning being issued, except for this one right here. So it's all going to come down to this one that's moving over currently over Horseheads, heading northeast towards Veteran. That's going to come down to how long that one is able to sustain itself, also heading towards Sullivanville as well. And again, this goes until 2:15. So make sure that you are seeking shelter for the duration of this storm, but also as long as you are heading, going to be in this area.
Yeah, and so what I wanted to point out, if you could zoom in just a little bit, Olivia, it's like basically right about there that you're seeing some pretty tight rotation right here where those reds and those greens are really kind of tightly impacted. And so that's when we have the winds going towards the radar and then away from it as well. So this is one of our major concerns why they are, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for this particular area. And if you could put a cone on there for me, when you get a moment, I would appreciate that. But this is all part of a larger system, this big system. As we pull out, you can plainly see some of that rain kind of moving up and over us at this point, but then also coming in off of the lake. A lot of cloud to ground lightning with this as well. So Veteran, looks like you might be out of the woods at least temporarily, but we are still watching this move off to the north and to the east. So we're getting towards West Danby. If you guys are in that area, just be aware that your conditions will start to change rather quickly over the next, I'd probably give this about 25 to 30 minutes or so. And it looks like Horseheads, the storm, the center of this might have already passed over you. So people in Erin, into Swartwood as well. Cayuta, you are one of the areas that might just get right on the edge of that if our cone were to keep moving off to the north and to the east as well. So again, for those of you joining us, we do have a tornado warning in effect for Chemung County, moving out of, or I should say pretty much north of Elmira at this hour, but nevertheless, there's Cayuta. That's what I was talking about, right at about 12 minutes or so for us. So just be very aware of your conditions changing rapidly. Get to the lowest level of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have small children around, make sure that bicycle helmet is also a very good means of protection for folks, because when things start to blow around, you need to be very, very careful that you're not going to be hit in the head. And the best way to do that is to get to the lowest level. A basement, of course, is ideal. Also, a lot of folks might not realize to get underneath a set of stairs, because underneath those stairs you can find some shelter the further that you go in, and usually stairs are enclosed between a lot of different walls as well. So if you are traveling anywhere around around Route 13 and even into 223, now is your chance to find some shelter and some safety as soon as you guys can.
So we see a severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado that is going to be a little bit north of Horseheads as it moves through as of right now. We're about 7 miles north of Elmira. This is still moving at about 30 miles per hour, so it is quick moving, but still definitely very problematic as it does continue to make its way across Chemung County. So it is starting to move a little bit closer to away from Horseheads and into Sullivanville as of right now as it continues to make its way along its track. But it does certainly seem that the cone of sort of potential is sort of shrinking out there, so it is definitely not going to be as large of an impact as we're seeing as it moves across, but still seeing that potential as it continues to make its way closer to the current severe thunderstorm warning that we do still have a little bit further off to the east and a little bit further off to the northeast of the system as it continues to move through. So still make sure to stay indoors as you do continue on until about 2:15. This is when it ends. There is still also that chance that it might get another tornado warning as it does continue on this track, as it does still look like there is that potential for some more severity along with this system. But as it does move a little bit closer to that severe thunderstorm warning, we are going to be seeing a little bit less of that severity a little further off to the south of Horseheads as of right now, as it does continue to move closer to Sullivanville.
Well, the kind of good news with this is that they have trimmed this back considerably. This was taking up a huge amount of real estate over Chemung County, 15 minutes ago or so, guys? But now they kind of relegated it to this little tiny area right before it gets to the foot, if you will, of Schuyler County, and then moving into Ithaca. There is a tiny bit of rotation. It's not nearly as tight as it was before, as you go kind of south of Veteran along that still 13, Route 13. It's away from Aaron at this point. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they decided to maybe trim this back even more or even cancel it at this point, because it is pretty small and the rotation is not all that promising. And on top of that, we have less than 10 minutes to go within this particular cell. But we do appreciate you all staying with us. That is for certain. And we do expect for perhaps, as Anthony said, the potential for maybe some more severe weather as we move through the rest of our afternoon and into our evening. We do have our severe thunderstorm watch box until 6 o'clock p.m., which I still found kind of interesting just because last night it went on a little bit further. So we are probably right in the heart of the severity if we're going to get some at this point.
That's exactly what I've been seeing. Pretty much all day I've been thinking, even with us tracking this yesterday, it did look like, as far as the impacts to our area, this is going to be an earlier into the afternoon event. You can already see, just looking at it, a lot of this activity has already started to really pick up. Farther closer to Syracuse, looks like even they have a tornado warning issued up there as well. So, again, obviously we will continue to track this. Of course, our severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect until 2:45. But yes, that tornado warning does go out at 2:15. As of right now, it doesn't look like it will be extended. But of course, while a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, you want to stay inside and seek shelter, because those straight line damaging winds are just as much of a concern, which is exactly what we saw last night.
Yeah, last night it was kind of interesting. I was thinking about a little less than a week ago or so, we were looking at Beryl coming through. And the funny thing about that, the impacts for Beryl were actually less than what they were yesterday. Reason is, I would gather, is because the amount of energy that we have with that heat really feeding into that. And also last week we also had a heat advisory. So we have really not been able to get out of the woods as far as severe weather goes, where it feels like about a week or so. But with those discrete cells that we had yesterday, and we kind of touched on that before, actually, Olivia, during Beryl last week, when you have those little individual cells, they're holding so much energy by themselves. But then we saw it really start to line out and share energy, and then the wind came along, and the rest was kind of history for us. So we're hoping that a lot of people are now getting their lights back on from what happened yesterday. I've seen trees down from one end of the Twin Tiers to the other. So as we edge closer to the end of this, nope, I guess it is still there. I was hopefully thinking it had been canceled, but no. But as we get closer to the end of this warning, we have about 6 more minutes on it. The rotation with this particular cell has really started to diminish more than anything. The tornado warning for us is ongoing, and we will continue to watch that over the next few minutes or so. So I don't necessarily feel we're completely out of the woods, but I would say, hey, Olivia, head a little a little west. And we're going to, like you said, we're going to see what's kind of behind it. I'm not seeing a ton behind it as much. So this is on the leading edge of a pretty good cold front, or cool front, I guess, for this time of year. And we're going to notice a change in the difference, too. The temperatures, right, guys?
Yeah, tomorrow definitely going to be looking a lot cooler. Sorry to interrupt you there. But yeah, as we get into the rest of your week, we definitely fall back to kind of close to average, maybe even a bit below average. Going to be feeling really nice the past couple of weeks, seeing all that heat. But yes, all that sunshine that we did see earlier on today, and even yesterday, definitely keeps on building all of that suspense, and a lot of that energy that we see. That sunshine does warm up the ground, does live a lot of instability out there. That's just why we've been seeing these sort of storms moving through, just like last week, and even the week before, or a couple of weeks before that, I believe we even had a little bit more. But yeah, as the system does continue to move through, all that heat definitely does give into that energy. But yeah, as it does continue to move further off into the northeastern part of Chemung County and gets a little bit closer to, I believe that's Tompkins County out over there, closer to Ithaca.
Right.
We are going to be continuing to see that option move through, but probably another little system going to be moving through, because it does seem to sort of start to die out a little bit as it does continue along this track. But like you said, there is still a little bit of some production going on out there a bit further off to the west here, but it does look like we are getting a little bit closer to the tail end of this system as it continues to move through.
Yeah, I agree with you there, 100%.
I really did see that a lot of our concerns were farther north into the southern tier. I know that sounds a little confusing. More so for Steuben, northern Steuben, Schuyler, northern Chemung County. And so even just looking at this system right now, I do think it's going to continue farther north. As you head towards the Syracuse region, that's also where that enhanced risk was. We were just shy of that. And so when it comes to these storms, we can't rule out the chance for some to develop. As you can see, there's just some light showers developing behind these storms right now.
Yeah, in fact, this cell is moved out of the watch
right.
area, the warning area.
Right.
So I'm going to probably safely assume any rotation as it pertains to us is over and done. They're probably just going to let this next 3 minutes play out. So
yeah, the rotation's pretty much all gone at this point.
Yeah, it's not even there. So it has, Aaron, you're safe, Veteran, you're safe, Horseheads, it looks like you guys made it as well, but there's still some lightning, as we just saw populate on the screen there. So if you want to go a little further north into Syracuse, just because I'm really curious. Oh, wow.
Yep, if you guys don't know, our Chief Rhonda Lee does have family in Syracuse.
Yeah,
so.
Of course. So I guess I'm kind of checking on them in real time right now. But take off that ridiculous layer of lightning. See, that's one of the things that people don't always realize is that the lightning can also be the killer in this. I mean, there is so much energy between the heat and the mechanics of the storm in and of itself. If you are on the thruway heading out of Rochester and then into Onondaga County and then up towards Watertown as well, I believe they're probably going to be under this warning pretty soon. It's really treacherous, but this is all part of the same exact line of storms. So behind that, we're not seeing a lot, which is going to be interesting. I would at some point, probably when I start to get ready to actually go on air, I'm going to look at the temperature difference, because there's a lot of nothing out of Buffalo right now, and things seem to be calming down out of Rochester as well. So I'm going to go ahead and call it at this point. We only have just a few more seconds on this.
You can even see the severe thunderstorm watch has sort of shrunk down a little bit too.
Yeah.
It was further off into the western part of the state, but now it's really just our couple of areas and into Binghamton, Syracuse area. So it definitely is starting to calm down a little bit as we continue on into the afternoon.
But do remember, this is, more so remnants. I believe this came out of Chicago, Illinois area. Mm-hmm. This is the northern little clipped piece of that reformed, re-strengthened, moving towards us. Our setup was just really favorable for it to pick back up and bring us some severe weather. But do remember that the actual cold front continues to sweep through between today and into tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So we're still with a chance for some severe active weather heading into tomorrow as well. And of course, we'll have Chief Meteorologist Rhonda Lee with you in the evening shows to keep you updated on that. But as far as today goes, it does look like hopefully this is going to be some of the last of it.
Yeah, some of that diurnal energy can't be ruled out at all because we're still quite hot. And then we have that cold front coming on by. And that, of course, could mix it up. And I think that is pretty much it. So at this point, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Chemung, parts of Schuyler counties as well. And we have the severe thunderstorm watch until 6 o'clock p.m. And that severe thunderstorm warning is set to expire at 2:45. So what we're going to do now is, first of all, I want to thank the entire team. It was a group effort. And we're going to send it back to programming at this time.